Hey, how are you? Good. I'm good. So I know that we have that test tomorrow on the 1960s, so I thought that you could come over and we could study a bit, and then I can help you go to sleep. Okay. So I have the timeline of the 1960s, so I thought that we could just kind of go over each year and some of the important events, and then if you have anything to add, just let me know. Yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Do you have your notes up? Yeah, okay, great. So should we just kind of start with the 1960s? I know it's just some of like the more important historical events that we're going to be tested on. So 1960s, I thought we could put, about Greensboro, North Carolina, and the 4 boys, and how they were refused service at a restaurant. Yeah, and that kind of led to a lot of protest around the country. Okay, so that was 1960s, and I'll share these notes with you. Okay, so another thing I think we should add is President Dwight Eisenhower signs the Civil Rights Act in 1960. I think those are kind of the main things that we talked about in class. So 1961, let's see what we've got here. I had President Kennedy advises all prudent families to have a bomb shelter, and the DNA genetic code is broken. The USA introduces its first test of the intercontinental ballistic missile. Okay. The Vietnam War officially begins in 1961 as the first American helicopters arrive. Okay. I also think we should add in there that John F. Kennedy becomes the 35th President of the United States of America. Okay. Alright. I don't think they're going to test us about sports, so I'll skip that part. Okay. Okay, so states and so 1962, sorry. Okay. So I have that states and the Soviet Union threatening the world with nuclear war. Okay. Yeah. Did you have anything for 1962? I didn't really get a lot for that year for some reason. Okay. So, American Broadcasting Company begins color telecasting for 3.5 hours a week. Okay. That's an interesting fact. Thank you for sharing. Right. Anything else for 1962? No? Okay. Alright, let's go on to 1963. So I think the big thing in 1963 was President John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and stores and businesses shut down for the entire week. Congress, another thing that happened in that year was Congress enacted the Equal Pay for Equal Work legislative for women. Okay. 2/3 of the world's automobiles are in the United States as well. Okay. Film goddess Marilyn Monroe was found dead of an apparent overdose, and it becomes the most controversial death in the world. I don't know if they'll test it for that, but we can still put it because it's interesting. Okay, so I also have that Martin Luther King Jr. issues his letter from Birmingham jail. Zip codes were introduced in 1963. The first episode of the BBC television series Doctor Who is broadcast in the United Kingdom. Okay, and then the Beatlemania was starting to be released into the US market. So I think those are kind of some of the main things for 1963. Did I miss anything? Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, so 1964, we can say that the Mustang from Ford Motors was introduced. The New York World Trade Center plans are introduced. Okay. The Beatles went to #1 spot in the USA. Malcolm X, suspended from the Nation of Islam, says in New York City that he is forming a black nationalist party. Okay. The Beatles held the top 5 positions in the Billboard for top 40 singles, and the songs were Can't Buy Me Love, Twist and Shout, She Loves You, and I Want to Hold Your Hand, and Please, Please Me. Okay, another big thing. Let's see, anything else that you think we should add to our notes that you think might be tested on? Thank you. Alright, 1965. Okay, so I think something important that we should know is the Medicare bill passes. Also, there were 190,000 troops in Vietnam. 32,000 people made the 54-mile Freedom March from Selma to Montgomery. It's a really long march. Malcolm X was assassinated. Let's see. Okay. Everything else I have here, I don't really feel like, we're going to be tested on. Did you get any notes that you think that they might test us on? Okay. Alright, thank you. Okay, 1966. Alright. Okay, I think we should talk about the troops in Vietnam. It was around 400,000 in 1966, so it went from 190,000 in 1965 to around 400,000. That's a lot. Bob Dylan breaks his neck and nearly dies in a motorcycle accident near Woodstock. He isn't seen in public for over a year. Well, that's a long time. I don't think that'll be on the test, but Star Trek performs their first episode. I used to love that show as a kid. Alright, 1967. Okay, anything else that we should add to 1966? Okay. Okay, 1967. Rolling Stone magazine is founded, I have. China announces the H-bomb. It's a lot of music and entertainment, so things like Pink Floyd, Elvis Presley got married, Jimmy Hoffa begins his 8-year sentence for attempting to bribe a jury member. Muhammad Ali refuses military service. The Doors released their first album. Walt Disney released The Jungle Book. LSD is declared illegal by the US government. So I don't really think it's a lot of like historical, it's more entertainment things, so I don't really know if we'll be tested on that. Okay, 1968. Richard Nixon was elected president. Robert Kennedy was assassinated in California. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis. And riots erupted American cities several days afterwards. Okay. I think that's, pretty, a lot of the other stuff is entertainment stuff, which is just kind of some of the extra stuff. This is kind of interesting. The Zodiac killers believed to have shot Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday on Lake Herman Road in San Francisco. 1969, okay. So, I think something important was Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. 624 pairs of pantyhose are produced. Okay. The Woodstock Music and Art Fair is held at Max Issacher's 600-acre farm. That was a big event. The Manson family kills Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, wealthy business people live in Los Angeles. The Charles Manson cult with Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant. Okay. Oh, Project Apollo, I think we should put that in there. The Eagle lands on lunar surface and the world watches in awe as Neil Armstrong steps on the moon and puts the first flagpole in outer space to fly the American flag. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Do you think that, we should add anything else here to our notes? So we kind of covered some of the main events. I know there's a lot of information with history, but I'm taking our teacher's notes and just picking out the things that I think are important. So do you think we missed anything? We're good.